When I grow up, I want to be a doctor. If you have ever said this statement, then this guide is for you. If you study medicine in China, Russia, Ukraine, Cuba, the Caribbean, Philippines, and wherever else on this planet, you're going to be a terrible doctor. If you have ever said this statement, or you have ever heard someone say this statement, then this guide is also for you. Like many other people out there, I knew from when I was just a little girl that I wanted to be a doctor, and I had always dreamed of going to study far, to a place like Canada. However, studying medicine there is really expensive. I settled on Eastern Europe and wanted to experience the cold Russian-like winters. In 2013, I finished high school and went to Donetsk, Ukraine, in January 2014, to pursue my dream of becoming a doctor. Unfortunately, upon arrival, I realized I'd been lied to by the agent I used, as when I arrived, instead of starting my MD degree, I was enrolled into a pre-med program. Since I was already there and we had already spent a lot of money, I had to stick it out and wait for my MD program to start in September, a whole 9 months later. I learned the language in the meantime and started my pre-med courses, but a few months later, conflict broke out in Donetsk and I decided to leave Ukraine in May 2014. Just a week later, the airport was bombed. Devastated and disappointed as I was, I didn't give up on my dream, and I still wanted to go far. However, finances were even more of a concern now, as I'd already wasted a lot of money pursuing studies in Ukraine. I decided on China. I started my applications and got several acceptances. However, there was an Ebola outbreak in Western Africa in August 2014, and despite me not being from the affected region, all my visa applications were either denied or took very long to process. This time I had applied with a friend, but again, the agent we used also messed up my applications and we ended up separated. My colleagues began their studies in September, but I only made it to China in December 2014, an entire 3 months late. When I arrived in China, my classmates were in the last week of the semester and preparing to start final exams the following week. Faced with two options, either defer the entire semester or hustle and sit the exams and see what happens, I chose the latter. I also opted to take supplementary Chinese classes during the winter break so as to be caught up with my class by the beginning of the second semester. I ended up completing my first year of medical school with distinctions and was awarded a first-class scholarship. Living and studying in China had its ups and downs, but overall it was an incredible experience that I'm truly grateful for. Studying in China didn't come without negative perceptions, however. What kind of a doctor will you be? Will patients even trust you? You're going to struggle to adapt to the African setting. People who go to study abroad only go there because they couldn't get accepted into their own countries. Medical school in China was certainly not easy. Between having to learn the language so as to have better communication with the teachers and patients, to having to bridge the gap between what was being taught back home and what I was learning abroad, I found myself having to work twice as hard as the average student. Hard work does pay off, however. I was awarded a total of 7 scholarships, 3 first-class excellence scholarships, 1 second class, 1 third class, and I won the prestigious CSC Chinese Government Scholarship twice. I was also awarded the honorary top 10 student title in a university of over 40,000 students. In May 2019, I left China and went to Botswana to do a full year of elective rotations prior to graduation because in China, the degree is 5 years plus 1 year of full-time hospital clerkship. I got to bridge the gap between medicine in China and practice back home in preparation for graduation in June 2020. In March 2020, COVID-19 was declared a global pandemic and I was stuck in Botswana, unable to return to China. I stayed on and completed my rotations, did my final exams online, as did millions of other students around the world, and I graduated top of my class. In October 2020, I relocated to Tanzania, where I did my internship and proud to have been recognized as the best intern my hospital had had. I didn't struggle to adapt to the regional setting. In fact, I thrived. Years later, I am working in the field of my dreams. My patients not only trust me, they love me. I excel in my work and my results speak for themselves. It's been over 10 years since I embarked on my journey to becoming a doctor. 4 countries, a war, a regional disease outbreak, a global pandemic, and a lot of challenges later, I believe I'm in a position to share my experience, the mistakes I made, and the things that I did get right, so as to help others not make the same mistakes, but also to encourage anyone on the journey to achieving their goals to keep pushing and see their dreams through. Should you study medicine? Where should you study? Where not to study? What are the requirements for studying medicine? The different costs in different regions? How do you apply? Should you use an agent? What about accommodation options? What can you expect to find in your curriculum? The importance of clerkships and detachments. what to expect as a foreign trained graduate, imposter syndrome, specializing, and of course, my entire experience. Success starts with the right guide, and that's why I wrote Study Medicine Abroad, a step-by-step guide. If I could do it, so can you. This guide isn't just my story, it's a roadmap for you. It answers the real questions that students struggle with and gives you a clear path to success. So if you or someone you know is on this journey, don't let them struggle alone. This guide is exactly what they need to succeed. Because this guide is not only for those who haven't started, it's also for those who have started but need help to level up and come out winning.